and welcome back to another index card review. We're going to be looking at the top 3 combos, or my favourite, from the Dark Angel index card that was shown off today. Before we get into it, I'd just like to make everyone aware that the free WARHOUND giveaway is still ongoing. Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, that beast will be drawn. Just make sure that you have liked and commented on the video and maybe showed it to some friends. The quicker we get to 2,000, the quicker you get a nice big WARHOUND. Also, for our Patreons, we're also doing a Combat Patrol giveaway this month. All our patrons will be part of exclusive monthly giveaways. The winner will get a Combat Patrol of their choice. Currently, for the low price of £3, you get a 1 in 8 chance of winning. So these are the 3 stratagems I think that I will personally be using the most with the Dark Angels. So we have the Grim Retribution. It's going to be extremely useful. It's not limited to any type of unit, just simply Adeptus Astartes. In fact, all 3 of these stratagems are. It allows your unit to shoot as if it were the shooting phase. It's got a ton of use, and it lets you shoot the unit back that has just shot you. And Armour of Contempt. We all know what this one does, but for those of you that don't, what it will do is reduce the incoming armour penetration on an attack by 1. All across this edition now, armour pen is massively down, so this is absolutely huge for the Space Marines to keep a key unit in the fight. And Unbreakable Lines. What this does is minuses 1 from the damage characteristic of an incoming attack. There is some discussion online that this -1 damage will reduce a damage 1 attack to 0, meaning that unless it's damage 2, your unit can't be hurt. Now, a lot of the larger channels, such as Tabletop Titans, are playing it this way. I'm going to look at the stratagems as if it is played that way for now, but also keeping in mind that if it does get FAQ'd, it's still an incredibly useful stratagem. Now, starting off with the Dark Angel Enhancements, this is the Pennant of Remembrance. Now, the Dark Angels have access to more command squads than most chapters. Now, I think the Pennant is going to come in most useful on larger squads, because the 6-up Feel No Pain, it's not, you can't really just shrug it off. It's useful, but having the Feel No Pain of a 4-up when you're battle shocked is absolutely huge, because if you are getting battle shocked, you are probably in a bit of a tight situation. Stubborn Tenacity, very straightforward. It makes the unit hit better, and if your unit is battle shocked, well, you are going to be wounding better. The Heavenfall Blade is going to allow you to once again beef up the attack, strength and damage of your character's attacks, once again increasing if battle shocked. And the Shroud of Heroes. Now this makes your character, like Celestian, like Gilliman himself, they're able to stand back up on a 2+. And if they were battle shocked, if they were feeling like running away, they are going to stand back up with all their wounds remaining instead of just 3. Now the Deathwing Command Squad is one of the ones that caught my eye immediately. Not only can the Apothecary return models to the unit, they've also got support of the Astartes banner from the Ancient, Honour or Death, which allows them to advance and charge. It also lets them heroically intervene for free, and access to Storm Shields, which now give you an extra wound on top. And with the all Terminators now having a 4+ invulnerable save, it's certainly not being missed. It's in fact a buff. It's just an all-round buff. Now immediately, what I've highlighted in green here, as you can see, is that having the Terminator Ancient in the unit carry the banner that gives them a 6-up Feel No Pain is massive. Now you might be thinking, oh, it's only a command squad, but this Terminator command squad, they can take up to 10 models. That is a massive blob. That's extremely hard. They're going to be able to control the centre of the board, and no matter what your opponent is pumping into them, whether it's high damage weapons, high AP weapons, you've got an amazing invulnerable save, really good Feel No Pain. If you start feeling the heat, you can bring models back, and if you get battle shocked, you're going to be objective control 2, because the banner increases it by 1, and Dark Angels of Grim Resolve always remain at 1. And if you do decide to attach a character to the unit, you can also make use of the +1 to hit if the bearer's unit is below starting strength, and the +1 to wound if you're battle shocked. As for the others, I think they're a lot more focused on individual characters. Don't forget as well, this unit can become even harder by using the stratagems such as Line Unbreakable and Armour of Contempt. Grandmaster Azrael, absolute beast himself. Obviously he can't take any of the enhancements, however I really don't think he needs to. He's well worth mentioning here. So he's got one of the highest AP weapons I've seen in the game so far on a melee weapon at AP -4. Hits like a truck, got plenty of attacks, and on top of that he is giving you an extra CP a turn, which in this edition is huge. Out of the handful of squads you can join, the Sustained Hits one is a nice addition. It's not the be all end all, but it certainly can be useful until the time that you want to commit him to combat. Now the Deathwing Knights, these guys are the absolute beasts of this codex. So keeping in mind that the -1 damage may be rules as written currently, if that is so, then these guys cannot be hurt by attacks that are damage 1. They are just going to walk through any firepower that you can throw at them, and they're 4 wounds base. That's just insane. Keep in mind, you can then make them -1 to be wounded in combat with line unbreakable, and you can still apply Armour of Contempt to them despite them being a 2+ save with a 4+ invulnerable. Now, that all said, they are hard as nails just on their own. Their mace, which used to be an amazing Thunderhammer, has lost a fair bit of strength and is now only AP 1. Now this isn't the end of the world because AP has dropped everywhere, across the board, and most of the time now you're getting that AP. So your attacks are going to be going through and doing that flat, free damage. I don't think this is worth turning your nose up at. Now most of the enhancements don't apply, but the only one I think that might be relevant is having someone lead the unit to give them the extra 1 to hit and the extra 1 to wound if they're battle shocked, because a +1 to wound on a strength 6 weapon is going to be very, very useful. But really the +1 to hit is nothing. To be fair, these guys are most likely going to be lone operators. Now, overlooked for most of 9th edition, we have the Ravenwin Black Knights. Now, on profile, most of their weapons and guns, they're good, decent amount of shooting, good amount of AP. Their combat weapons aren't too bad. In fact, they're a bit better than they were last edition. But it's when you glance your eyes over and look at Knights of Caliber, and it gets insane. So whenever they complete a charge, anti-monster and anti-vehicle and a 4+. Toughness 16 vehicle or monster, they don't care, 4+, it's going down. And they've got a decent amount of attacks each, in fact 3 each. Now, once again, you start combining this with a character that's with them, same as the Deathwing Knights. Getting that +1 to hit is amazing. The +1 to wound when the bearer's unit is battle shocked, don't really care about that too much. Just getting the 2+ to hit on the number of attacks you have will be massive, absolutely massive, because they are only damage 1. These guys can also be quite tough because they're as tough as a Terminator, and they still have access to Armour of Contempt and Line Unbreakable for that -1 AP, -1 to wound. Now these strats are only 1 CP, so if you have Azrael in the mix, it's going to be quite reliable that you're going to be able to keep pumping these out every turn. To save me talking about them twice and explaining it all twice, my biggest winner is the Ravenwing Black Knights. Because once you combine them with strats like Fire Discipline, which makes their guns count as assault heavy and gain the ignore cover ability, that makes their plasma gun shooting insane. Also don't forget the Intractable Stratagem, which allows them to fall back, shoot, and declare a charge, even though they've fallen back. That's just crazy, and once again it's 1 CP. Keep in mind you're combining this with the fact that they wound vehicles and monsters on a 4+ when they charge, and you can even pop Fire Discipline so they get in doing even more damage with the plasma guns before re-engaging their target, whilst being tough as nails because of Armour of Contempt, because of Line Unbreakable, and because they're already toughness 5 with that 5+ invuln. Stubborn Tenacity there once again, so you could put a character with them to give them the +1 to hit as standard, and +1 to wound if battle shocked. Now the leader I'd recommend putting with them is a captain on bike, because as standard he'll grant the unit Swift Assault, which means all their weapons that are ranged gain the assault ability, which super useful because they have rapid fire guns, and Rites of Battle, meaning that once every battle round they can be targeted by a stratagem, even if another unit's already used that stratagem, and it's 0 CP, making that Intractable, for example, not only reliable but absolutely guaranteed, on top of actually just being a bit of a beast himself, because you can equip that captain on bike to give the unit even more of a punch. It's definitely one to watch out for. Yeah, now I'm being a bit cheeky here, but whilst not technically a Dark Angel unit, if you're running Dark Angels without plasma, then you've definitely lost some of the love for the guys in green. Now I'm putting Stubborn Tenacity there again as an enhancement, because why would you not want your plasma guns hitting on 2s? The +1 to wound is going to probably occur because they're going to blow themselves up from hazardous. When they do blow themselves up from hazardous, have a chance of getting to shoot, meaning in some cases the same model can shoot twice in the same turn. So Stubborn Tenacity is making that even more reliable, that you're getting even more hits and more wounds through. Then you couple this with Grim Retribution. Let's say you've just been shot at. Some of your Hellblasters die. They fire back. They're hitting on 2s. Then you trigger Grim Retribution, so any of the surviving members go, we're not having any of this, and also return fire. But my point is, for a unit that blows itself up and is going to be quite important for your opponent to remove, you're just able to kick out ridiculous amounts of firepower with some of these combos. Personally though, I'd sack off Stubborn Tenacity if you can and chuck Azrael with him. It might be a bit weird because you'd think you'd want him in combat, but keep in mind you want this guy on the board for as long as possible and you only want to commit him when absolutely necessary. So the unit will benefit both from his Sustained Hits 1 ability as well as the Lion Helm giving them a 4-up invulnerable. Now you've got a unit that is absolutely ridiculous to remove. Now the downside of course is they are a key unit. Your opponent will put firepower into trying to destroy them, which could leave Azrael up the creek without a paddle, as it were. So for those of you that made it to the end, thank you once again for watching. If there's anything that I've missed or anything you disagree with, let me know. We're all still learning here, and I'm certainly up for seeing things that I've overlooked or things that I might be mistaken about. Just want to throw it back in, of course, there is a Warhound. We are struggling to give it away. That is not something I ever thought I'd say. Go check the video, go comment and like, get involved, hit that sub button. And if you do want to support the channel further for a small amount, if you want a Warhammer lottery ticket, go for it, because we're going to be giving away stuff every month, and the more patrons we get, the more we're going to give away. Thanks all, and see you on the next one.